Here are 6 sleeper running backs you can find in your 2025 fantasy football draft. Starting out, J.K. Dobbins, Denver Broncos. You can get him outside the top 40 running backs. J.K. Dobbins, yes, he's an injury risk. He has missed 44% of the games he's been eligible to play in 5 years in the league. Now, last year with the Chargers, it was not a bad season. He missed 4 weeks, Dobbins, out of the knee injury, but otherwise played before, played afterwards. 4.6 yards per carry for Dobbins. Not his Baltimore numbers, but that Los Angeles Chargers offensive line was really a struggle in the interior, so it wasn't a great situation. But we certainly do remember the beginning of 2024 for Dobbins, when Dobbins was on an incredible pace, and he was the running back too. Now, after that, his yards per carry did fall to 3.8 the rest of the way, but I digress. J.K. Dobbins is now on the Denver Broncos. Phenomenal offensive line. Great coach for the running game in Sean Payton. Backfield mate for Dobbins is R.J. Harvey. We have seen Sean Payton craft running attacks where 2 running backs can be highly successful. J.K. Dobbins is being talked about as a possible receiving option in this backfield, which bolsters his value as well. Look, the Broncos are likely to have an outstanding defense. They may play with frequent leads. I think the running game will be the engine of the offense. The injury risk for Dobbins is there, but you're not paying a price for it at running back 44. So take the shot on Dobbins, because when he is on the field, he has a very high floor with reasonable ceiling. And who knows, with limited work in a split backfield, he may be healthier for longer than we expect. Next, let's go to Tank Bigsby of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Everybody's forgetting about Bigsby. They had drafted Keaton. We know that the talk up for Travis Etienne is that he's back to being the number 1 back. But Tank Bigsby's going about running back 49. And even though Tank Bigsby's only 213 pounds, Travis Etienne actually weighs a little bit more. Bigsby's the only runner on that roster that provides big back concept. He can run up the middle. Travis Etienne's not a good interior runner. Keaton's a straight line speed guy. That doesn't seem to be working. So Bigsby should come out of this with a very real early down and possibly a goal line role. Again, I know Etienne may start the season, but Bigsby cut in last year. Etienne is not going to see 80% of the work. It's going to be more like last year. It's going to be a timeshare, a split. Bigsby was 96th percentile after contact last year, 80th percentile broken tackle rate. He was a little up and down in terms of consistency, but he was finding his way. And again, I do see him as a player. He has the one type of skill set that no other running back in that backfield has. So Bigsby is going to be a good fantasy option this year. Next, Nick Chubb of the Houston Texans. Look, Nick Chubb was never going to be fine last year, coming off a devastating 2023 knee injury. Yes, he came back, was not the same player. Nick Chubb is already on record saying he's back to squatting what he squatted, back to running the way he did, cutting the way he did. Nick Chubb is back. And guess what? He lands in Houston with Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon has been the great compiler for years. Now, Mixon has already missed offseason time with ankle and foot injuries, so it hasn't been a great season of offseason of health for Mixon. But remember, Joe Mixon may have been great for fantasy last year, but he was not a good runner. 19th percentile broken tackle rate, 22nd percentile yards after contact. Again, Mixon compiled. If Nick Chubb is anywhere close to 80% or better, he is exponentially better than Joe Mixon, and it will not take long for the coaching staff to responsibly say, well, the better running back has to play, and that's Nick Chubb. You could get Nick Chubb normally close to running back 60 in drafts. People are sleeping on him. If you're enjoying this breakdown, take a second to hit like and subscribe. It helps RotoWire pushing out that fantasy advice for you. And if you want more of RotoWire's tools, rankings, and insights, 15% discount just for our YouTube viewers. You go to rotowire.com, choose your subscription, and you use the code YouTube15 at checkout. All right, this is a potential sleeper for potential volume. Hold your nose. Miles Sanders, Dallas Cowboys. Look, Javonte Williams can't break tackles anymore, doesn't get yards after contact, looked terrible in Denver, well removed from that ACL injury. Jadon Blue, 5th round pick. 5th round pick is a late pick. Really, that's a tough one to say we're going to make this our starter. Miles Sanders may not be very good. Dallas should have a serviceable offensive line. They should have a very strong passing attack. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson. Defenses are going to be playing that shell defense to try to slow the passing game down. If Miles Sanders does carve out significant work, Miles Sanders could see enough volume to be a flex or a low-end running back too. You're drafting him outside the top 65 running backs. He's a dart throw. But again, he could stumble into volume because this backfield does not inspire much of anybody. Next, outside the top 70 running backs, Jacory Croskey-Merritt of the Washington Commanders. Look, that backfield's kind of thin. Austin Eckler's the passing down back, but he's had concussion issues. He's over 30. Brian Robinson is the early down back. That's not a question right now, but Brian Robinson's been pretty up and down, gets nicked up, runs a physical style. Well, the team in Washington, they like Croskey-Merritt. He has already kind of impressed them through OTAs. So he is only a heartbeat away from seeing real work for a team that upgraded their offensive line. They have a great mobile quarterback in Jaden Daniels, quarterback that can throw the ball deep, and this could open the field up. If Croskey-Merritt gets into the lineup, it could really be a good punch for your fantasy squad. Next, Keaton Mitchell, Baltimore Ravens. You're getting him right around running back 75. Reach up and get him a little bit. Remember 2 years ago when Keaton Mitchell broke onto the scene? He averaged 8.4 yards per carry. That's not going to happen again. We get that. But it was 8 to 10 carries a game for Keaton Mitchell, and he just kept ripping off big plays after big plays. Good as a receiver. Well, now he's healthy. Heard it all off season. John Harbaugh's excited about it. Keaton Mitchell's excited about it. Keaton Mitchell should easily overcome Justice Hill and be the change of pace for Derrick Henry. And when you're talking changing the pace from one of the most violent physical runners in the game and then turning it over to elite speed, that is going to make a difference. Keaton Mitchell may not get a lot of touches, but on few touches, he could give you some flex potential. Also, we don't want this to happen, but if Henry were to miss time, Keaton Mitchell's in an outstanding situation with the Baltimore Ravens.